He then went on to say, USA tried similar behavior. What, of course, over the years, for instance, Avema Rice Project, the shoe plants, all our plants that have been shut down. Why? Of course, Avema Rice Project, I was young, but I've heard in the news or up in the air that the reason it stopped is because Ghana entered into some sort of deal with the IMF and America. Therefore, the rice project in Avema cannot continue. Now, he mentioned China, so we want to stay with China for a minute. What's the difference between China's leadership and Ghana's leadership? Now, because China is recorded to have engaged with IMF, just as Ghana is engaging with IMF. China is recorded to have received aids upon aids in billions and billions, something Donald Trump has always been against, right? But China's leadership has been able to change all these aids and IMF deals into development to a point that China is the second biggest economy in the world, and USA cannot just talk to them anyhow. They have become a force to reckon. So why is it that Ghana could not use this IMF engagement, the monies that come through the deals and the aids that come through? Why is it that it is not felt in our economy? Why is it that it is not felt on our roads when we drive to all the hinterlands? Could it be leadership issue? I came across a word called kakistocracy. I don't want to say that's what Ghana is suffering from, but for us to be receiving money, said to be receiving money, and yet not seeing the full force of the money, something should be wrong, shouldn't it? Don't ask me what kakistocracy means. I came across it, somebody shared it, and I went to research about it, and it's very interesting. You go find out as well what kakistocracy means. It is kakistocracy, but I want to make it kakistocrasim. Right. Anyway, why that question? Like I said, China had dealings with IMF, but look at China now. China has received aids upon aids. Look at China now. Why is Ghana different? Why is Ghana different? Why? A question we should be asking. Professor Ata Edu says something. He said that everything the West is us, referring to our raw materials. She is saying all that we see in the Western world is us, came from us. Now, if I'm making available to an individual, an institution, materials, raw materials, that makes this institution look good. And in fact, there is an engagement. There's a way this individual or institution receives these raw materials from me. There is terms of engagement. It's either the terms of engagement or the way this individual or institution receives these raw materials from me is not favorable to me, or the value I receive for the materials I have provided, I am misusing it, mismanaging it, or I am acting in a funny, interesting way with the value. That is why you can't see it around me. Could that be what is going on with Ghana? Gold, cocoa, bauxite, the list, manganese. Come on now. Before we go, that's what we want to talk about. The video from Professor Hudson referring to IMF and the World Bank as the most evil institution is the reason we are making this video, to draw Ghana's attention to it. Are we dealing with the devil? These are not my words. If dealing with IMF and the World Bank is indispensable, okay, means we don't have any choice. Why can't Ghana and its leadership do what China has done? Because they took loans for IMF. They received aid from the West. But look at them now. It's not only China. There are other nations in Europe, in Asia, who have worked their way to the top. Why can't we work our way to the top? Where we have become a formidable nation that we are not just giving something and say, shut up. But rather, we sit at the table with confidence and boldness, teaching our children to understand that we bring to the table equally what they might be bringing to the table. But the last time I checked, we bring more to the table. The raw materials. Why can't Ghana maneuver, outsmart IMF and the World Bank, and rescue itself from this everlasting economic servitude that we are participating in? Because the fact is, it is an economic servitude. For someone to be chasing you to say, I want to loan you money, or I want to have a program with you, there is benefit in it for the person more. Because there was a time our finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, said, Ghana is not going to deal with IMF. Ghana having a deal with IMF have a dire consequences for Ghana. Yet, for whatever reason, for whatever took place behind the scene, Kenneth Ofori-Atta has led us into another deal, having told us that dealing with IMF has a dire consequences for Ghana. He led Ghana to IMF anyway. What has changed? What transpired behind the scene? Has he been threatened? Has Ghana leadership been threatened? Like Professor Hudson said, you try to do your own thing, you'll be assassinated. Were they threatened? What has changed? For suddenly they said, okay, yes, we must take this money. Because it seems like IMF and the World Bank were the ones chasing Ghana to have its debt rewritten, whatever it is that it is. It seems and it looks that there is benefit in it for them more than for Ghana. So if Ghana and its leadership, we can begin to teach our children in schools and begin to fashion our education system to outsmart this IMF and this World Bank program, which seems to be indispensable, then we are not going anywhere. And that's not good enough, because the hot seat, we believe we are smart, we are intelligent, we are tough, we are strong. And if we choose to do, we can. So what exactly is Ghana's problem? If other nations have dealt with IMF and the World Bank and has received aid from the West, yet they have come to the top, what is Ghana's problem? Is it leadership problem? Education system problem? Is it selfish mentality and mindset? Is it our traditions? Is it tribalism? Is it corruption driven by wickedness? What at all is Ghana's problem? That we've been going to IMF for the past years, and this time is the 17th time, yet our roads are broken to the core. Even the ones we inherited are nowhere to be found. What is the problem? Leave your comment. As a Ghana-loving Ghanaian, don't listen to this and walk off. Let's share ideas. Let's see what we can do. Because the Ghanaians abroad, what has changed? They are still Ghanaians as normal. But suddenly they have become effective. They have become efficient because there's a system in place. Anyway, that's all we have for you. Till we come your way, remember to share the video to other Ghana-loving Ghanaians and any interested parties. Like the channel, subscribe to it, and click the notification bell that when we come out with yet another patriotic views from country and people point, you will not be left out. God bless Mother Ghana. Long live the Fourth Republic. I'm your host, Im. Bye for now.